Hello and welcome to Criminal History. Today we are going to be talking about one of the most despicable experiments, the monster study. One of the most unethical human experiments in the history of science was a monster study. Science can, of course, be a beautiful thing, exploring the mysteries of the universe and inventing creations that make the world a better and easier place to live in. However, it can also become the most destructive force on Earth, destroying the lives of millions. The monster study is the latter. It irreversibly damaged the child participants into adulthood. The experiment and its results would be withheld from the public as revelations of German and Japanese human experiments during the war created anger and mistrust about human experimentation. The monster study was conducted by a speech therapist named Wendell and graduate student Mary Tudor, who was working under his supervision. And although the study was never peer-reviewed, those peers who did read the report named it the monster study because of how monstrously unethical it was. Johnson and Tudor, as you would expect, wanted to find out what caused a person to develop a stutter. So a study was conducted to see if stuttering was the result of biology or learned behaviour, or in other words, nurture versus nature. He also wanted to see if he could induce stuttering in normal speaking children and to see if positive reinforcement would help a child stop stuttering. The experiment was conducted in 1939, years before proper ethical standards in psychology were in place. His first unethical action was in his selection process. He chose 22 orphans as his participants, or more accurately, his victims. As they were child orphans, it meant that not only could they not consent because they were children, they did not have parents looking after their best interest to consent to the study either. The psychology team also lied to the children's guardians about the experiment. They were told the children were merely getting speech therapy. Of the 22 selectees, some had a stutter and some did not, and they were separated into two groups, praised and non-praised. Over a 5-month period, children met with the psychology team every few weeks. The praise-speaking group were given positive reinforcement on their ability to speak, even if they spoke poorly. They were told phrases such as, "You will outgrow your stuttering." Conversely, the non-praised children were given negative reinforcement if they stuttered, and were actively belittled if they did. Phrases such as, "Don't ever speak unless you can do it right," were used. In this second group, children that spoke without a stutter were told that they were developing a stutter. The children's teachers were also instructed to carry on with labelling the children as stutterers or non-stutterers, which was decided by the psychology group. The end results showed that positive reinforcement of the praise-speaking group had little effect on their speech development. Only one child improved. However, in the opposing group, every child was negatively affected. One child started refusing to talk entirely. Another child began to talk anxiously, stopping to correct himself. He openly doubted his ability to say the words before he spoke them aloud. Every child in the non-praised group became worse at school, with declining progression in general. The later impact of this study showed that those in the non-praised group became highly anxious, self-conscious and reluctant to speak. However, the treatment itself did not create stutterers. The experiment also showed that you could not remove stuttering by giving the child positive reinforcement. In the no-praise group, the negative reinforcement effectively changed the child's personality for the worse. It also highlights the power of negative words on children and how it can negatively affect the development of their personalities. In 2007, 7 of the participants were awarded $1.2 million by the state of Iowa for lifelong psychological and emotional damage. Poor compensation for the participants who are now reaching the end of their lives. The study was called indefensible and one that should never have been allowed. Mary Tudor herself became traumatized by the experiment. After the study, she volunteered her time at the orphanage to try and reverse the negative outcomes in the affected children. However, the social and personality changes could not be undone.